Well, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that the mainstream media, CTV, Global News, all the reporters have pretty much turned on Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh's coalition. They're seeing it for what it is. It's corrupt, especially since Jagmeet has said countless times, almost threatened to cut off the coalition, never does anything, but he said that he does not support Trudeau, yada, yada, and then reporters are always bombarding him with, then why are you propping him up? That's the good news, that they've switched. The bad news doesn't really affect you guys. It's about me. I'm getting old. Summertime. I've joined a local baseball group, and I'm injured. I gotta injure myself every week. I throw my arm out. I'm getting old. My back aches. I'm 30. No. I'm not letting it happen to me. I refuse to be a has-been in sports. I refuse to be old, but here we are. I'm aging just like everybody else. So anyone who I called old in their 30s, I would like to sincerely apologize and move the goalpost to 40. If you're 40-year-old, 30s are just getting started. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. And when you are subscribed, there's a little bell icon that shows up. If you could just do me a favor and click and tap that, that'll actually give you a bit of a chance, like insurance, to be notified of upcoming videos. And I do want to, while I have your attention before we get into the video, I do want to let you know that I am streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays around 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. That would be 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, and Saturdays. So we are going to be doing a stream, depending if this video comes out on Friday or Saturday. We're going to be doing it today or tomorrow, either one. So just keep an eye out for that, because my algorithm does not exactly favor live streams just yet, but we're going to be working on our relationship so we can talk in the chat and get to know one another a little bit more. Speaking of knowing one another, there is no better screen that I like right now than this one right here. You have the polls projections. Conservatives are still sitting at 211 smackaroos, bottom line of 183, top end of 232. And when you scroll down here, 99% likely winning the most seats, 99% likely of winning a majority government. NDP and Liberals both under 1%. So everything is looking copacetic right there. Projection of poll coalitions. I mean, even if you have other coalitions, you still have the Conservatives that might be able to sweep it and get a majority government. So that's looking good. That's looking very good. What's not looking good is this NSICOP report and everything that's followed with it. So not many or not all of the party leaders have seen it. From my understanding, Justin Trudeau obviously seen the NSICOP report. Elizabeth May, leader of the Green Party, when she's not, hitting the grapes, the fermented grapes, she's busy making press conferences, and she said, guys, there's nothing to worry about. Everything is fine. There is no list of names. We're all good. And then the next day, Jagmeet Singh takes a look at the report, and he comes out with a super duper contradicting analysis saying, guys, there's serious reasons to believe that we need to worry. Even without seeing the report, we should all be panicking because this is absolutely insane. By the way, I'm a victim. I was on this report. I was targeted, and I didn't even know about it. Kind of sketchy, kind of weird, because it shouldn't be that contradicting. It's either nothing to worry about, which Justin Trudeau has said. Elizabeth May from the Green Party has doubled down, said nothing to worry about. And then Jagmeet, who's in a literal coalition with Justin Trudeau, says the opposite. So what's the truth? Does it lie in the middle? Are they both lying? Are they both truthful? We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But what I did talk about in one of my previous videos was CTV political commentator or guest, Tom Mulcair, who used to be the NDP leader, right? He used to be Jagmeet Singh, just, different, but the leader of the NDP. He has come out and said that he thinks that Pierre should not see the NSICOP report because then he's silenced for the rest of his life and he can't talk about it. He can't speculate. He can't create, use it as a talking point. It silences him, not just a gag order, but it's permanent. So it's kind of weird that the old NDP leader who still supports NDP and obviously supports Justin Trudeau actually agrees with Pierre Poilievre. So you have everybody across the board that is contradicting one another. So where the hell is the truth? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today. A discussion of CTV, trying to figure out where the truth is. And we're going to take a look at this video, but also very important to tune into the live stream later. Again, depends when I post this video. It might be on Friday that this video goes live. It might be on Saturday that this video you're watching goes live. I'm not sure yet, but Saturday evening, I will be going live, and we're going to be taking a look at this even further. But for today, let's take a look at this video.
Marika Walsh. Hi, guys. Okay, Marika, I'll start with you. I don't know what we expected when Jagmeet Singh was going to come out today, but he very directly did not say the same thing. Like, he was like, I'm not relieved, and Elizabeth May was relieved. What is the nexus, do you think, of the different take?
I think what it boiled down to, from my understanding of Elizabeth May's press conference, which was long, convoluted, and sometimes contradictory to what Jagmeet Singh said, is that she essentially said people might have benefited from foreign interference, but they didn't do so knowingly, although they probably should have known, was sort of her main takeaway. She said there might be compromised MPs in the House of Commons, but she was relieved because she didn't think there was anybody who was disloyal to Canada. Clearly, from everything you played off the top of your show, Jagmeet Singh does not have that perspective. And I think very interestingly, my takeaways from him were he thought that the Prime Minister had almost accepted a certain level of foreign interference. I thought that was
he said that
a very damning statement from the NDP leader. And he said essentially that the inaction from the Prime Minister is a problem and the inaction from the Conservative leader is a problem.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a second because there's lines of accountability on both sides there.
No, so there is no action to be taken by the Conservative or by Pierre Poilievre, because if there were Conservative names on that list, you can bet your ass, you can bet every single last penny that the Liberals and Jagmeet Singh would be weaponizing that to the fullest extent. Are you kidding me? Like, that's their biggest political weapon. So you don't have to worry. I'm pretty sure you don't have to worry about any Conservative MPs' names being on that list, or else it would have been magically leaked and we would know about it, and that would be the end of the Conservative Party. They would have been, complicit in treason, pretty much. So that's not the case. Pierre Poilievre should not, and it's not just me saying that. I see you guys in the comments saying that. Also, other analysts say that he should not be looking at that report because it's going to silence him and he can't talk about it. So anyone who says anything different is just trying to silence Pierre Poilievre. It's very obvious.
Mike, but what you were there, I think, for the press conference. What stood out to you about what he was saying about what he read? Because it's kind of tricky. Like, in some instances, he was referring to like what he couldn't say because it was only what I can base my comments on what's public. But then he was also like making reflections which clearly were based on things he was able to read that we were not.
Yeah, and shocking that it was the same report that Elizabeth May apparently read. And I actually asked him, did you read the same report? Because these are two starkly different conclusions here. And how do you come to these types of conclusions? The fact that he was a target of foreign interference, I think, was one of those revelations. The other thing I thought that was interesting is a number of reporters start to hammer him and say, okay, so you had said if any NDP MPs were implicated in any of this, you would kick them out of caucus. Are you kicking anybody out of caucus? He said no. And when that follow-up was, well, should other leaders do so? He basically said that other leaders should either be reading this report or reflecting on who is in their caucus right now. So clearly a bit of an indication there of there may still be people in Parliament, people who are parliamentarians that are sitting that may be compromised at this point. And really calling out Pierre Poilievre constantly. We know that Poilievre said that he will not be reading this because he doesn't want to be muzzled in the House of Commons, but saying that, look, he should be reading this because it does involve his party. And again, saying that, as Marika had said, both Poilievre and Trudeau have sort of willfully being ignorant about this and are turning a blind eye to it.
So let's start with the Conservatives. Is there any movement from the Conservatives, Marika, on Poilievre taking this briefing?
I don't think so. They appear to double down in their first statement, which, in fairness, I got just before the top of the show, so I haven't read it in full. But they said that essentially his comments, the NDP leader's comments, bolster Pierre Poilievre's position because they said he only said what was in the conclusions of the public version of the report. Now, I don't think that's the case, as you just outlined. And I think the broader point, the more important point that CSIS and other intelligence experts are giving to the party leaders is that if you get briefed, you can act. And that's that inaction that the NDP leader has called out. He also has a much smaller caucus, much less on the line than the other two political party leaders. But obviously, there's going to be even more pressure and even more questions for the Prime Minister, who's overseas right now, but surrounded by a gaggle of Canadian journalists, and the Conservative leader, if he does a press conference on Parliament Hill someday, somehow, to explain why they are not going further than what they have. I think it's important to remember that this report says there was interference both by China and India in the Conservative leadership race.
Yeah, and speaks more broadly about other types of interference that are happening too, which is, I think, why I keep hearing from Canadians who are perplexed.
Yeah, so, but there's different interpretations. Like, if Justin Trudeau, which he obviously knows what's in that report, and so does Jagmeet Singh, they are throwing everything that they possibly can at the Conservatives and at Pierre Poilievre. It's a competition to see who can be the most popular in Canada to win. So obviously they would be weaponizing this to the fullest extent if there was incriminating evidence that would suggest that the Conservative Party was a part of or was complicit in committing a form of treason or foreign espionage or whatever you want to call it. Foreign interference. I mean, for crying out loud, Jagmeet Singh's own name is on there. He's like, I apparently had no idea because I never brought it to anyone's attention. And now I've seen that my name was on there. So he's subject to foreign interference and he didn't even know. So like them saying that there was foreign interference with the Conservative leadership party, I mean, they could have been trying to interfere to make it so that he wasn't the Conservative leader. It's a very broad statement. So anyone who's jumping to conclusions, you have to think it would be weaponized at the by the people that are literally running against him. If you knew something that was incriminating for your enemy and your rival, wouldn't you use that information? Like, it's just absurd to suggest that Pierre Poilievre is any form of illegitimate winner of the Conservative Party or that they had anything to do with foreign interference. Foreign interference could literally mean they were trying to block him. So that on its own, it seems a little ridiculous. And I hate to hyper focus on this because I really don't want to come across as me trying to defend the Conservative Party blindly. It's just me using critical thinking. I mean, it's right there.
About what seems like a lack of action on both their parts. Obviously, the onus is on the government to do a lot more, but at the party level, it's equally on all the party leaders to do something about it, and nobody seems willing in either the Conservatives or the government to do that.
And David McGuinty, the head of NSICOP, everybody's favorite acronym these days, basically said this is a clarion call. And he called on all party leaders yesterday to come together and to do something here for the sake of our democracy, saying that our democracy is on the line, our rule of law is on the line, and that they need to act now. Interestingly, I did call the Bloc Québécois just before coming on, and they were telling me that, yes, while Yves-François Blanchet wants to get that briefing and wants to get that security clearance, they're still really at the beginning stages where they have questions for the officials. They're waiting for them to get back to them, but they are starting that process. Doesn't sound like it's going to happen that soon, but certainly starting that process for Blanchet to really get a look at that report and then for him to possibly come with his assessment as well.
You mentioned, Marika, that Jagmeet Singh essentially made the statement that the Prime Minister appears to be okay with a level of foreign interference. That resulted in a number of reporters asking repeated questions at Jagmeet Singh about why he continues to essentially prop the government up. Have a listen to that exchange.
Why are you continuing to prop up the government who you say isn't taking democracy seriously? Why do you continue to prop them up?
So the question is, what are we going to do about it?
No,
the question
is,
to
why
me,
do you continue to prop up the government when you say our democracy is at stake and this government is not taking our democracy seriously?
Okay, so this on its own is incredible. This is a mainstream media reporter. This isn't a YouTuber in there with a microphone, trying to not to throw shade at anyone, but it's not like someone's in there with their phone going speaking to the microphone. It's an actual accredited mainstream media reporter asking that question. And you just seen that Jagmeet Singh is trying to take control of the question. And it's like, okay, well, here's what you asked. And here's how I'm going to answer based off of a different version in which was not said, but I'm going to manipulate your question so that I have that confirmation bias and I can control the outcome. And the reporter doubled down, and Jagmeet just showed that he's a weak man because he tried to repeat the question in his own way. And the reporter that gave the reporter a chance to double down and say, no, that's not what I asked. This is what I asked. Very, very much weakness from Jagmeet. If you're going to give a non-answer to a question, don't repeat the question wrong and then give whoever asked the question the opportunity to re-ask the question. Like, I just feel like he has a little bit more, grooming and indoctrination programming to be done by the Liberals for non-answers, because that was really, really pathetic. But the point of this little side tangent is the fact that Jagmeet Singh is being attacked, right, by mainstream media now. I absolutely love it. The narrative is breaking, and you can see the breaking news on the CTV banner, and I've got it cropped out of screen, but it's breaking news all across the entire screen. It's awesome, man. I really love the fact that they are, doing the right thing, right? The media is doing the right thing, and they are showing the truth that, look, these people there's something going on. There's something going on that we need to know what the hell it is. And they're not just ignoring it for the first time, maybe in a long time. It's really nice to see.
Why continue to back them up?
We're not at all doing that. What we're saying is we're going to demand answers. We're going to continue to push for solutions.
It is hard to see how, Marika, Mr. Singh continues to navigate that question when he is essentially saying, the Prime Minister has a role at putting democracy at risk.
Yeah, and kudos to, I think that was Mickey Durgic with the Canadian Press, putting those questions to him and not taking the suggestion that she should be asking a different question. I think that it is a tricky position for the NDP to be in, and they will continue to be in that position until they bail on the supply and confidence deal. So far, they're making the political calculation that is not what they're going to do. Mr. Singh's argument is essentially, we can't have an election right now in this current climate. And he's saying, interestingly, he has kind of the same conclusion as Liz May, that the leaders need to get together, chart a path forward. That's sort of the only part where they really agree on that this does need to become a political thing that they take head on. And that's also what sort of academics in the intelligence world are saying, that you can't just keep pushing this to committees and inquiries. You ultimately have to make a political decision about what you will do.
It looks like the only two people who want to get together in that room, though, Mike, are Elizabeth May and Jagmeet Singh.
At this point, yeah. And, a party of those two people I don't think really gets us too far in this question right now, despite, the power that they have in having read this. I think one of the things that is interesting in all of this is that, yes, Justice Ogue now has the possibility, or there is the suggestion of having her take this on as well. Well, she still has 201 days left until her final report is due. She's complained that that's a tight timeline. Mm-hmm. Adding more to her plate might not be the best option here, but certainly I think the question is valid. Why do you continue to prop up this government? Why not do more from the inside? Because Jagmeet Singh does have regular meetings with Justin Trudeau, so why not do more? I think he's right in saying people don't want to have an election now, and having an election now when this question about election interference, probably not the best idea, but certainly he should be probably doing more to get this government to try and act on this if he does have one of his hands on the steering wheel at this point, or at least he has an inside, line to the Prime Minister's office.
Okay, I got
that one of those last lines. I hate to admit it, but it does raise lots of concerns. Is it even a good idea to have an election while we're in the middle of an investigation around election interference? Don't get me wrong. I'm totally on board with the election. I would absolutely love to see Jagmeet Singh cut off the coalition, be like, you know what, we're doing it. We're going balls to the wall. I'm doing the right thing for Canadians for the first time in my life, and we're calling an election. And the polls are showing, the support is showing on social media, by mainstream media even, very weirdly. And also in real life, the support is uncanny for Pierre Poilievre. No one else can beat it. Everywhere that Jagmeet Singh goes, he's getting heckled. Everywhere Justin Trudeau, Freeland, any other backbencher or frontbench liberal, they're getting heckled. The Conservatives have insane amount of support and backing. But what if this election interference is so deep that we get the results that we're not wanting? And what if it's in favor of the other guys. That is something to think about. And I'm not sure how we're going to get out of this, but at least there is some runway, a significant amount of runway between now and the next scheduled federal election. So we've got time to figure this out. And there's going to be some debates coming up about this, which is why it's important to subscribe to the channel, turn those post notifications on, because you're not going to want to miss it. I might even have to do just a pop-up live stream on Sunday. I think Jagmeet Singh is going on CTV for a one-on-one. I'm not sure if Elizabeth May, leader of the Green Party, will be there, but we're gonna have to wait and see how that turns out, because this is like deep rooted stuff, man. This isn't just, like, I know a Rive scam was a massive controversy and that cost us millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. But this is election interference. Like, you have actual people that are making policies bought and paid for by other countries. And there's reason to believe, or there's an argument actually, why this is worse than, just hundreds of millions of shekels, going to numbered accounts that the government owns. That's its own problem. But if you had to pick which one was more severe, I think I'm going with the election interference, at least for right now. But we're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments about this election interference. Who's right? Is it Jagmeet? We have to worry about this, or is it Elizabeth May? We don't have anything to worry about. Let me know down below what you guys think. That's where we're going to end this video. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't yet already. Go visit the shop link down in the description below to get one of these stickers, or get yourself some summertime merch. There's freedom hats. There's Keep Calm, Don't Vote Liberal hats and hoodies, or sweaters, or t-shirts, right? Get that summer stuff. Make yourself comfortable. And we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.